Hey friends, Rob with you. So in this video, I want to address something that I have said before in a previous YouTube video that I have done, and the comment that I made in one of my videos was God is not scientific. Now, I also made that same comment in my video exchange discussion with Aaron Raw. And Aaron and I did a exchange a little over 2 weeks ago. So the comment is, God is not scientific. Now, I'm not saying that the field of science could or does rule the existence of God out. Far from it. Science most certainly points to the existence of God. But when I say that God is not scientific, what I mean is that you can't use the scientific method, which is that which can be observed, tested, and repeated, to come to a conclusion that God exists, because God is immaterial. So, since God is immaterial, he can't be observed, which means obviously he can't be tested and repeated. But, so when I say God is not scientific, that's what I mean. I mean that you can't measure God scientifically, because he can't be observed through your five senses. Now, God can be experienced, and you can infer that God's existence through science, but you can't use a scientific method to prove God, because again, God is immaterial. So, because God is immaterial, he's not scientific. Now, again, that being said, you can still use science, discovery, and the natural world to infer God's existence, but to prove God's existence cannot be done, because, again, God is immaterial. Now, that doesn't mean we can't give evidence for God, because we certainly can do that. That's very easy to do. I mean, DNA is biological code, and code requires a coder. DNA itself proves that God exists in terms of evidence. Now, I can't give you evidence scientifically for God's existence, because again, God is immaterial, and scientific method deals with that which could be, again, observed, tested, and repeated. And because God can't be either of those things, he's beyond the realm of science. See, when we talk about the existence of God, we're not talking about science, we're talking about philosophy, which science is a slave to, according to author of an apologist, Dr. Frank Turek, who said that he has actually said, and I quote, "Science is a slave to philosophy," and I would agree with that. It's an interesting quote, but, and again, we're talking about God. Let's see that when people talk about science and God, they're confusing terms, because, again, God is immaterial, and so he's beyond the realm of science. So you can't use science to rule God in or God out, because God's existence is philosophical, not scientific. So, again, you can use, and you should use, science as well as other things to give evidence and reasons for why God exists, but it's beyond the realm of science. Now, one of the arguments I'm going to articulate in my book that I have not yet written about is the argument for design. But again, I have touched on the cosmological argument, which sort of does touch on the design argument, but it's not one and the same. I think the biggest argument for God's existence is the moral argument, which I have dealt with in my book, and also Gary. You can find him at his Twitter handle at FTW_crosstalk. All of my shows with him, as well as my debate with Jackson Wheat and Steve McCrae, as well as my debate. I don't even know who the guy's name is. I debated a pro-choice advocate, and I got rather heated. And I had a very unpleasant exchange with Peter, don't know his last name, a Dutch guy from the Netherlands who's got a show, got to go for it or something like that. I didn't put that on my channel because, well, it's on the internet, but it was not a nice exchange. Anyways, so yeah, so the moral argument you can find that on my debate channel, which covers all my apologetic and debates and now and as well as my discussion with Aaron Ra, which again I guess said we did a little over 2 weeks ago, which is I got surprised that's got about 15,000 views in just over 2 weeks. But then again, I've noticed that Aaron has over 300,000 subscribers to his YouTube channel, so maybe considering how many subscribers Aaron has, it may not be that surprising that it's reached that many views. So it's interesting to me that people with this much clout on the internet is like Aaron Ra or Steve McRae or even Jackson Wheat would want to debate me. These guys have been in the public sphere, especially Aaron has been in the public sphere a lot longer than I have. And so I was kind of surprised when Aaron agreed to do a video exchange with me, considering how popular Aaron is on the internet. Obviously, with over 300,000 subscribers, and I myself only have 177. But he's been at it for a lot longer than I have. And the reason I have kind of just started to wet my feet, so to speak, in the area of public debate is to sharpen my skills and do so in a way that honors God and brings people into the kingdom or strengthens the faith of those already in the kingdom, and the kingdom of God, that is. And when I say God, and it should be obvious by now, but I mean the God of the Bible, because he's the only one and true and living God. So, in an age where ambiguity is reigning at an all-time high, it's good to be clear with our terms. And so again, when I say God, I mean the God of the Bible, because the God of the Bible is the only true and living God there is. So, and again, I'm kind of excited about getting my book published, and it's on target to be published mid to late March, and I'm very excited about that. Hope it does very, very well on market. Well, one of the reasons being is I need money, and I don't mean that in a greedily way. I mean that Paul talks about worker is worthy of his wages, but yeah, I mean this apartment isn't free. Obviously, food isn't free, and I'm thankful that I have people in my life that are helping me out. But I'd prefer to be self-sustaining. My Twitter page has a link for to GoFundMe. So if that's something you want to do, I just ask that you thoughtfully and prayerfully consider it. And if it's not something that you don't want to do, if it's something you don't want to do or don't feel comfortable doing, then don't do it. So simple as that. So yeah, and then I have 2 more books that I'm going to be working on as soon as this one is finished. This one is entitled Why Atheism Doesn't Work and Jesus Does, An Introduction to Apologetics. My next book will be on exposing the heresy of the papacy and bringing and kind of centering a more Christ-centered approach to the Bible than the failure that Rome has unfortunately been successful in perpetrating to over 1 billion people. It's rather striking that there's over 1 billion Catholics in this world, because it obviously proves either biblical ignorance, biblical illiteracy, or both. And so that would be my second book. And then my third book will be on exposing the scientific fallacies of evolution, and also the philosophical and ethical implications of evolution as a worldview and religion. And yes, evolution is most certainly a religion and a worldview. Make no mistake about it. So that would be my third book, but that's, I don't even have a set date for either of those two projects, but I am hoping that the book on Catholicism will actually be published this year as well. So my target is just this year to get the book on Catholicism finished, and also, I'm going to be debating a Catholic after Lent, so that should be interesting. Arvin, I'm going to tag you in this. So you can see this. But yes, so it's going to say it once more. I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it again, that for some reason spaces don't work with me, but we can do it on StreamYard, and which I will upload to YouTube. So it'll still be streamed live, and then I'll upload it to my YouTube channel. Now, if that doesn't work for you, I don't know what else to tell you, but it seems to be be the best option in my opinion. StreamYard is a pretty efficient streaming service. Then again, after that's finished, I'll upload it to YouTube and go from there. And so it's kind of interesting that all three of my books will obviously come with some flack from, first of all, I'm attacking atheists, or atheism rather, and obviously there are a lot of atheists who will try to take me to task for that, and then of course there's going to be Catholics who are upset that I'm going after the heresy of their religion, and then of course there's going to be people that are just going to be flat out pissed that I'm going after evolution. But I want people to understand that I'm not doing these things to piss people off. That will just be the inevitable result of the work itself. No. I do what I do, and I write what I write, and I say what I say, and I think what I think because I believe it to be true. And I believe the truth is worth the price, and I believe that God's word is true, and I'm willing to pay the price. So if you're an atheist or a Catholic or someone who believes in evolution, which could be pretty much anybody at any philosophical position, because there are theists, agnostics, and atheists. All atheists will pretty much have to ascribe to evolution, but theists shouldn't be ascribing to evolution, and agnostics will certainly do it as well. Because it's the weak person's position. Because atheism is obviously a philosophically fatally flawed position. And then evolution will have to be their go-to philosophy and religion. The reason I say it's a philosophy and a religion is because it's not scientific, which I'm going to get into, which is one of the things that Brother Gary and I will be discussing tomorrow. I think that's about all I can think of at the moment. So this video has covered a fair range of topics, and it hasn't really gone in any particular stream of or flow of thought, but it covers the things that everything I wanted to discuss. But yeah, just leave it at that for now. All right, see ya.